You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Sport.
Come back. Try again. Go ahead. Try again.
Welcome to the Locked On Clippers Postcast with your host, Pete Fox.
All right, buddy. Give me some. Good job. All right. That indeed is our announcer for the night. Ever Seller. Good job, buddy. Welcome to the Locked On Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers Postcast is brought to you by Game Time. Today's episode sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. You can't do that the whole show, Everest. You've had your moment in the spotlight. Well, the Clippers post a nice win tonight, 104-88, a big first half. Oh, by the way, as Everett said, I am your host, Pete Fox, covering sports in LA, dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Clippers with a huge first half, 51-29, shutting the Kings down. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that the Kings were just not making buckets. The defense that the Clippers played was a big part of it, but the Clippers did not shoot the ball well. What they did do is hold on to the ball. They did not have a bevy of turnovers like we've seen from them recently. Let's think back to a couple of nights ago, 25 turnovers that turned into 25 points for the Orlando Magic. Tonight, not nearly as bad, much, much better. In the first half alone, 3 turnovers that equaled 2 points for the Sacramento Kings. Tonight, a grand total of, is that right? No, that can't be right. 12 turnovers. I was like, right next to the 12 turnovers is 3, and that's blocks. I was like, there's no way they had 3 for the whole game, but 12 compared to 25 is a huge improvement. And Ty Lue reportedly has been, banging on them about this turnover problem, which is nice to hear. I know they were having some fun with it in the pregame presser where they were asking him about it. And he was, sitting there explaining that during practice, he points out a bad pass and the players will say, yeah, you're not wrong there. So I guess they're, making light of it and having fun. And that's fine as long as they are addressing it. Right. At first I was kind of like, is that productive just to joke about it? And it's a real problem. You got to focus on it. We can't make light of it, but you can't focus on it too hard and get too upset over it. So ultimately I kind of was like, yeah, that's a good way to handle it. Most important that they are addressing the problem. They're working on it in practice. They're doing their best to improve. They're focusing on this problem that they have. And when you show improvement like they had tonight, that is a very, very good place to be. It has to give them some encouragement that, hey, our hard work is paying off. The ball was moving early. That was nice to see. And when I say early, I mean like the first 5 or so minutes. I was a little frustrated, but then again, I come into these games sometimes expecting the Clippers to jump out right away, and they just need a few minutes to get rolling. And that was the case tonight. They were moving the ball, but not making shots. And then they went on a 17-4 run to lead at the first break, 26-12, or the first quarter rather. Derrick Jones Jr. got off to a nice start with 7. Amir Coffey, 7 points in the first quarter. And James Harden had 8. More importantly, no turnovers, and he did not fall down on his face even once. That was really nice to see. The Kings then absolutely wet the bed. 1-for-18 at the 8-minute mark of the second. That is just like, if you're a Kings fan watching this game and your team goes 1-for-18, you're like, I'm out. But, the good news is the Kings got back into it, turned things around in the third quarter. Tonight, we will also get into the fact that the Clippers continue to play well without Norm Powell, and that's another good sign for them. We'll also touch on how the Clips shut down the Kings. The defense, I thought, was very, very active, and it was guys that were starting and guys off the bench. I like this idea that Ty Lue is throwing out these 4 or 5 bench guys to start the fourth quarter. He did it a couple of nights ago. He did it again tonight, and that's a good place to be, to have that kind of depth. We'll also get into another athletic performance from Derrick Jones Jr. He doesn't put up a ton of points, although tonight was a big performance for him. 6 of 13, no threes, perfect from the line, 4 rebounds, and 17 points with a plus minus of 11. But really, when you think about what Derrick Jones Jr. has been bringing to the floor for the Clippers, it is energy and activity and a relentless pursuit of the basketball, both on offense and defense. And again, it feels like whenever Derrick Jones Jr. has a good night, so does Kevin Porter Jr. The juniors are connected in their performances. Kevin Porter also tonight, really, really high level in the paint, penetrating the rim. Brian Seaman called him elite at the rim, and I think that's a very, very good way to describe his play. 26 points, 7 for 16 from the floor, 0 for from beyond the arc, but he also had a plus 11, scoring 14 points on 6 rebounds. So he plays with a ton of energy, and I think it just absolutely bleeds over into the rest of the team. Zubac's 10 points tonight, 5 of 8 in 31 minutes. James Harden, 36, 5 of 18. Another big night at the line for James Harden. And I guess ultimately, do we really care how James Harden gets points? I mean, I guess I don't. The big news was that he didn't turn over the ball early. He did by the end of the game. He had 4, but that's 1 better than 5 a couple of nights ago, I guess, another way to look at it. But just 2 threes, 2 for 10, but 10 of 10 from the line with 9 assists. You know, what are you going to do? It's ugly, but it's effective. And that's the bottom line. 22 points to lead the way for the Clippers. Amir Coffey, 24 minutes, 5 of 9, 1 3, 11 points. And Chris Dunn had 2 shots and 1 3, 1 of 6. So played with a lot of energy. At times you felt like he was a big part of the offense for the Clippers, but 1 of 6 from beyond the arc isn't all that good. But he did have 1 clutch one, which I believe made it onto the bucket list. He finished with 5. So we'll hit the first break and come back and do the bucket list. And as I said, we'll also talk a little bit more about Norm Powell being out, which is not good, but I liked what I saw from the guys kind of filling in. It's really given the Clippers a push to kind of become more deep, getting guys off the bench that we hadn't seen prior to this Norm Powell injury. So from something bad, hopefully, I feel like something good is going to come from this absence by Norm Powell with the hamstring. 104-88 as the Clippers extend their home winning streak to 7 in a row. They've won 4 in a row after this win and are now 10-7, 7-4 at home. Kings dropped to 8-8 after the loss. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast is brought to you by Chime. Take control of your finances by using a Chime checking account with features like no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. You can learn more about all of these features at chime.com/NBA. Chime helps you make progress with fee-free overdraft up to $200. Your next deposit is applied to your balance. Get spotted on debit card purchases and cash withdrawals. No monthly fees or maintenance fees, and over 50,000 fee-free ATMs. Eligible members get complimentary boosts to temporarily increase a friend's Spot Me limit. When you give a boost, they can boost you back to temporarily raise your limit. Set up direct deposits in your Chime account after qualifying. Direct deposit of $200 plus. Chime will notify $200 plus will notify you to enroll you in Spot Me. Your next direct deposit is applied to your negative balance. Chime never charges fees or interest for using Spot Me. Oh, I get it. Spot Me. I thought it was like spot me. No, it's I'm going to spot you. So that makes more sense to me now. Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/NBA. That's Chime, CHIME.com/NBA. Chime feels like progress. All right, nice win for the Clippers tonight. 104-88. Domantas Sabonis, who is a double-double machine, did it again tonight. 24 points, 15 boards. DeMar DeRozan, of course, the USC, I don't think he was a graduate, but a former USC Trojan. 16 points at times, had some clutch baskets as the Kings were trying to make a run in the third. Keegan Murray, couple of threes, 4 of 11 on the night in 40 minutes, finished with 10. De'Aaron Fox, who's absolutely been on fire over the last 3, averaging 45 a game, had a nice night tonight, but not anywhere near 45. So give the credit to the Clippers defense for holding him down. He had 29, 50% from the floor, 10 of 20, and just 1 3, 8 of 10 from the line. He was doing everything he could to get them back in it. They finished shooting 38% after an atrocious first half where they shot 24% and 11% from beyond the arc. They finished 7 of 35 from 3 for 20%. As for the Clippers, they were not much better in the first half. They got it going in the second half, 34%. And when you've got a massive lead like 51-29, it's a little surprising that they weren't shooting the ball. So that tells you how well they were playing defense. But they ended up at 41% on the night and 23 from beyond the arc. Did not miss a free throw, which is always a plus. As for tonight's bucket list, number 5, Jordan Miller, again playing minutes early in the game, hit a 3 at the 7:38 mark of the second, which gave the Clippers a 20-point lead. Again, the Kings were in a 1 for 18 slump at that point. 37-17. For number 4, Chris Dunn's 3, his 1 3, as he missed the other 5 he took on the night. It was at the 4:04 mark of the second. It put the Clippers lead back up to 20 again, 44-24. For number 3, Amir Coffey at the 5:03 mark of the third, a fall away layup in the lane, just an extremely acrobatic shot, which went in with a one-handed fall away off the left hand with hands in his face. It was just a extremely sweet play and very acrobatic. It made it 65-53. For number 2, Mo Bamba hitting a 3 at the 4:27 mark of the third, made the score 68-55. I absolutely love Mo Bamba because he can do a little bit of everything, and he is just fluid. He shoots the ball well. He can shoot the deep ball. He's just such a bonus to have on your team. And for number 1, Nicholas Batum hit a 3, the 10:03 mark of the fourth. It made it 85-68. It was a big bucket for the Clippers at the time. And 1A, honorable mention to Derrick Jones Jr., had a 2 at the 2:10 mark of the fourth. That got the lead back to 10 for the Clippers when the Kings had started to make a run again. They just kept coming. They narrowed the gap multiple times down to 12, then 8. They did it early. They were on an 8-0 run to start the third. They got it down to 16. Then it was down to 13, then down to 7. And the Clippers were having forced looks, and it just wasn't pretty there for a little bit. And they kind of got it going again, started making a few buckets. 76-64 at the end of 3. But I get it. I mean, this is one of those just facts of life in sports. I don't think it's just basketball. It's all sports across the board. Any sport, this is a really, really hard thing to do. When you are up big and cruising along, the other team, unless they're, demoralized, and to get a team to that level is hard. It really is difficult to get them to a demoralized level. The Kings are a good basketball team and have plenty of guys that can score. And when you're up big, it's hard to stay focused. It's hard to keep up the intensity. It just is a fact of life that you're going to let down. And you think about, like, let's look back to the Chargers game on Sunday night against the Bengals. Same thing. Huge first half, looked great. Everything was cruising along. And then here come the Bengals in the second half. Joe Burrow gets them back to 27-0. Fortunately, the Chargers won that game, as the Clippers did tonight. But I would say the Clippers did a better job of keeping the lead intact. I mean, they got down to 7, I believe was the closest. But they never got tied, and they never got it down to 2 or 5. I think 7 was the smallest lead that the Clippers relinquished in the third and into the fourth. So, that's good. Give them credit for battling and staying in there. And again, with Norm Powell out, the Clippers had to move things around, and Ty Lue is doing a masterful job, if you ask me, of working guys in that we haven't seen. And again, to start the fourth quarter, no starters on the floor. That's beautiful. As far as I'm concerned, to have confidence in your bench guys, it was Mo Bamba, Terrence Mann, Jordan Miller, Nicholas Batum, and Kevin Porter Jr. Now, as good as it was for the first few minutes of the fourth, he did have to bring Harden back in, Zubats. It got a little ugly there for a little bit, but they did a nice job. And the D was good. They were bodying up. That was Mo Bamba and a variety of them in that group right there. Batum playing some nice defense. Porter Jr., again, all over the floor, playing defense as well as offense. Scoring meaningful baskets. I just am becoming a big fan. He hit a fadeaway. I don't know. I'm a big fan of De'Aaron Fox because he went to Kentucky, and I'm a Kentucky fan. As much as I'm not really a Laker fan, I feel like they absolutely missed the boat when they had the opportunity to draft De'Aaron Fox, and they didn't. They went with Lonzo Ball instead. Lonzo Ball's been okay, but he's no De'Aaron Fox. And I still feel like the Lakers missed the boat there. He's just got such a fluid shot. And the left-handed shooters, in my opinion, just look sweeter. It's like left-handed hitters in baseball. They just look sweeter than right-handed guys for whatever freaking reason. Us right-handed guys are always envious of the left-handed guys. And I wonder if you're a guy like Norm Powell, who is he writes left-handed, but he shoots right-handed. Is he upset by that? Is he like bummed out that he ended up being right-handed dominant, even though he writes with his left hand? I don't know. But Porter Jr. hit a fall-away jumper like from the elbow. That was a clutch basket, and it just looked so sweet. He probably had more life tonight, looked better driving, penetrating, attacking the rim, and causing Brian Seaman to call him elite at the rim. I agree. I feel like this guy is a top level basketball player. So an athletic performance from him tonight for sure. As far as the defense, though, it was really about moving your feet. Lots of energy. The active hands were there tonight. They weren't knocking away as many balls as we would expect. As far as the turnovers for the Kings, they had 15. The Clippers had a grand total of 13 steals, which is very nice. So, when the defense is working, it is tough to beat this team, right? Especially when they're scoring and they're playing 10 deep, without Norm Powell, without Kawhi Leonard. So the future is definitely bright for this team, I think. It looks like everything is getting better. I mean, they've won 4 in a row and 7 in a row at home. That's huge. They are definitely trending up, and the Kings aren't great, but they're good. Again, same with the Orlando Magic, not great, but good. The bad news is, good and bad, the next game on Sunday is against the 3-win Sixers. So you look at that and say, okay, fine. Keep building confidence. Anything's possible. There is a possibility they could lose that game, but I don't see it happening. So that's going to be a good situation for them to be in before they head out on this road trip. Actually, no, that is part of the road trip. They kick off the road trip with that game. It's 2:30, I believe, on Sunday. The Philadelphia 76ers did win today. for their third win of the season. They're now 2-5 at home. So maybe they found a little life and figured something out in that win. As for the Clippers tonight, again, 104-88 over the Sacramento Kings. Big lead at the half, 51-29, leading by as many as 25 in this game. They're now 10-7 after the 7 consecutive wins on their home floor. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. We'll hit the break and come back with a little bit more on James Harden's night, leading the way. Another bizarre, less than impressive performance to lead the way. It's very strange, but hey, whatever it takes, right? It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast is brought to you by Game Time. It's funny. I really have an itch to go to Intuit Dome. I want to go and, be in the press box and cover a game. We're not sure how the Clippers feel about us. Dodgers are cool. Chargers are on the fence. Trojans are cool. We're not sure how the Clippers feel about the whole Locked On thing. Yeah, we're gonna have to reach out and find out. But either way, I want to get to Intuit Dome. So I was like, I want to check out a game. I was thinking that this Sunday's game against the Sixers was a home game. It's not. They're not back home until December 3rd. I don't even know who that game is against. I think it's Denver. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that would cost. And I was looking around. There's loads of seats for under $50 per ticket. I found $43 tickets in the front row of the upper deck. I have a buddy who has season tickets for the LA Kings at Crypto, center ice, front row of the upper deck. He's had them for years, and it really is the best seat in the house as far as I'm concerned. You can see the whole ice. You don't have anybody in front of you. So if you want to get bargain tickets to a game at a dome like that, an arena, look for tickets in the front row of the upper deck. Again, December 3rd against the Nuggets. You can find them for under $50 per ticket in the front row. Game Time is also offering 10% off of something that happened on the 8th, so I won't tell you about that. So some of the great things about Game Time is you can save money the longer you wait up to the start of the game. So if you're brave enough to wait till an hour before the game, you can save a boatload of money. They also have Game Time Picks, which is a curation, making it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They have all-in pricing. So you toggle this feature, shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. They have the lowest price guarantee and Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem it. Redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Well, it's game time. Clippers take care of business tonight at Intuit Dome, where they got it rolling. As I've said, I really, really feel like Intuit Dome is a big-time benefit to the Clippers' energy. The team is younger than it was last year. They have guys that are defensively minded, like Chris Dunn. Didn't have a big night scoring, but his defense is obviously noticeable. He plays with a lot of energy and gets up in guys. 27 minutes, he was 2 of 11, just 1 3 for 5 points. But yeah, they have a handful of new guys that are younger and play with a lot of energy on defense. But I think a lot of that energy is something they gain from this new arena and this wall. I mean, you can tell, you can notice it when you're watching the game. You can feel that it's completely different than it was over at Crypto, where the Clippers were third-class citizens. They came, of course, after the Lakers and after the Kings, and quite frequently would be playing daytime games, meaningful daytime games. They would get relegated all the time. And there was so many opportunities. I've talked about this with my buddy Mark, who is a Kings fan. And we've talked about how the Clipper fans at Crypto quite frequently in big time games, when things started to kind of unravel a little bit, the fans would kind of just let down, and losing became kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy for the Clippers. I don't think that is a situation that they're going to have to run into as much into it, just because the fans have a new energy, a new purpose, a new sense of pride. I think I really, as much as I love the Clipper uniforms and the new Clipper logo. Oh, by the way, we haven't talked at all about the NBA Cup. That floor was atrocious. Horrible. Norm Powell said, oh, ours is a little better than some of the other ones. No, it's not. The monochromatic coloring on the floor is awful. I don't get it. I don't like it. By the end of the game, I guess I'm used to it because it took me this long to remember that it bugged the crap out of me, but it's terrible. Although I do agree with Jim Jackson that the red Clipper uniforms tonight, contrasting on the blue floor, did look pretty cool. I don't know if I would say kudos, tip of the cap to the NBA, because as far as I'm concerned, the color floors are terrible. Awful. They could have come up with so many other things that were better and easier to watch. It's so distracting, and I don't like it. It's not cool. There's nothing about it that makes me go, yeah, that's awesome. But anyway, back to the point of the Clippers. I feel like the uniforms they're very cool. They have, obviously the whites, the blues, the reds, and then the baby blues. They got at least 4 going. They're all very, very cool. But I still believe the Clippers would have majorly benefited from a name change. Get rid of that whole thing and come up with something else, right? You have to give credit to what's his name, the new owner, for sticking with it and honoring whatever tradition the Clippers have, which is not much. I feel like they would have benefited from just a whole entire, you got a new building, you got a new name, you got a new logo, you got everything new. Like, we're starting anew right now. I was also surprised that Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, did not move them to Seattle, where he lives, where there is no basketball team. Very, very strange and bizarre. In a city like LA, where you've got a basketball team and Clippers are always going to be second-class citizens, always, if the Clippers win the next 5 championships in a row, which obviously isn't going to happen, but if they did, they would still be second-class citizens to the Lakers in LA. You move to Seattle, you are the king of the hill, right? You'll be bigger than the Kraken. You'll be bigger than the Mariners. It would be a huge deal. So really surprising that he didn't. And for Clipper fans, I'm assuming that you're absolutely elated that he didn't. I don't know how Clipper fans feel about the Clipper name. It did make sense when they were in San Diego, because San Diego is a port city on the water where there are plenty of Clipper ships. Makes sense down there. Doesn't make any sense in LA. Wouldn't have been that weird to change the name. I think it would have benefited them, and they could get out from under the legacy that is the Clippers, which is a losing legacy. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. So we always feel hope that the Clippers can be a contender. They're always lately good, but are they ever a contender? No. So, again, I have hope that this year could be a little different. I had hope last year, but again, Kawhi got hurt. Paul George wasn't quite the superstar that he claimed to be. He's good. Don't get me wrong. And maybe I'm probably in the minority thinking that him not being on the team is fine, right? I didn't have any problem with him leaving. I didn't have problem when Russell Westbrook left. I would have had no problem if James Harden left, but the difference being you would have had to replace James Harden. I don't think you needed to replace the guys that left. I think where they're sitting right now with a bunch of young, hungry players is a good position to be in. Now we just have to hope that Kawhi Leonard can get healthy and get back out there, because that will take them to the next level. That will set them apart and help them find a stronger identity. Tonight, played good. Defense was there. That's another huge part of this identity for this new Clipper team. 104-88 over the Kings. They're now 10-7. They've won 7 in a row, and 7 in a row at home and 4 in a row overall. James Harden leading the way with 22. Derrick Jones Jr., 17 points. Amir Coffey, who filled in the starting lineup for Norm Powell, had 11. Off the bench, a nice night for Kevin Porter Jr., 26 minutes, 7 of 16 for 14 points. Batum had 9. Mo Bamba had 6. Terrence Mann had 5, as did Jordan Miller, who played 13 minutes. So a deep, well-rounded performance, both offensively and defensively, is where they shined. And that's a good feeling to have after a nice win. So off tomorrow, being Saturday, back at it on the road in Philly. 2:30 around there, probably a 3:00 tip against the 76ers. I will talk to you after that game is over, because the Chargers play on Monday night. Tomorrow, though, Locked On Trojans postcast, Trojans Bruins, starts at 7:30. So I'll check you out after that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I would say thanks for the comments, but the only comment came from my wife. So kind of a Friday night performance. And thanks for Everest for doing our opening introduction. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Don't forget, you can download the podcast wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. Have a good night. We will talk to you tomorrow after Trojans Bruins right here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel.